Hello everybody, in this video we're going to be talking about how to achieve a multiplicity photography effect, in other words, a clone photography effect. For this demo we're going to be using these two photos right here, clone 1 and clone 2, and the first thing that you want to notice is as I flicker through these two photos, the only difference is the placement of the boy. Everything else is in the exact same place. And that's the number one rule with clone photography is make sure that you're using a tripod in order to get an image just like this, where the background doesn't move. The only thing that's moving is the person in it. Okay, so with clone photography, it doesn't matter which image you open first. So I'm just going to right click and open clone 1, and I'm going to zoom in just a teeny little bit, and then I'm going to go back to Finder. Okay, so now we have clone 1 open, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up Finder and drag clone 2 in. I'm going to have to either hit enter or click the check mark to confirm, and now I have both images in here. Okay, so whichever image is on the top, I'm going to select. And by the way, you don't just have to use 2. You can use 3, you could use 4, you could literally use like 18. It doesn't matter. I'm just going to do 2 for simplicity purposes for now, just keeping it simple. But I'm going to select whatever layer is at the top first. And you'll notice that it probably has this little symbol right here. That's no big deal. It's not going to get in the way of anything. But what we want to do is we want to go over to our object selection tool. And you guys may have not used the object selection tool before. Luckily, we don't really need to know much about it to use it in this scenario. The object selection tool is the 4th tool down on the toolbar. If you don't see it right away, just hold down on whatever tool is in that place and you'll see it's right there. It's like the little square with the mouse over it. Okay, and usually your object selection tool will come up as like this tool where you hover over an object and it kind of like will black out, or in some cases it'll turn the area blue. We don't want to use that right now. What we want to do is we just want to draw a rectangle around the clone that we're trying to grab. So I'm going to draw a rectangle around this little boy. And it's not going to be perfect by any means, especially because this photo isn't very high quality. But when you guys are taking photos on your phones or on the DSLR cameras, you'll probably get a way better effect than this. And it's actually good that we're getting these little pieces that we don't want, because then it helps us learn how to retouch later on. So I'm going to keep going. I'm going to go along with this, okay? So now I have a nice selection of the boy. And now what we're going to do is we're going to go over to our layers panel. And on our layers panel, if you go down towards the bottom where we normally use our adjustment layers, there is a button, and it's called the Add Layer Mask button. And what happens is when I click this, it actually creates a layer mask. And as soon as I click that, you'll notice instead of giving me like a white layer mask like we normally get with our adjustment layers, it gives us a black layer mask with the white only showing up where we had selected. That's why we select the boy first, so that it knows exactly where to mask the layer. Okay, so now for the touch-ups. So if you notice, there were definitely some areas that we didn't necessarily need selected. Now, as long as we have our layer mask selected, we should be able to touch these up by going in with our brush tool. And let's switch our color to black if it's not black already. I like to always click default first and then, click black so that I know I have a true black. And then I know that it's selected like this little corner area right here. So I'm going to go over there and see how it's kind of bringing it back to life now. I'm like slowly going to go around the edges of his arm. Wonderful. Okay, and I believe the corner of the pillow here too. All right, and then I think one more thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to switch to white now, And I'm going to just go around the head very subtly because you'll notice that it does give like a kind of like cutout look until I go around the face a little bit. Then it kind of looks a little bit more real, like it belongs there. So that's looking a lot better now. Excellent. Okay, so that is essentially the whole process. If, let's say, we had another clone in the middle, then we would just repeat that process with the other clone layer. But because we only have 2 images, this is really it, and that's the touch-up process as well. All right, so that's pretty much it for clone photography. I look forward to seeing what you guys do with that.